She's here with me. Don't come back.
The rain came without warning. One moment I was standing on the curb outside Marcus's apartment, my phone still warm in my trembling hand. The next, the sky split open like a wound. I didn't move. Couldn't. The text message still glowed on my screen, even as water streaked across the glass. She's here with me. Don't come back. 3 years. 3 years of believing in something that never existed. The rain soaked through my coat first, then my dress, then my skin. Cold water poured down my face, mixing with tears I didn't remember crying. I watched couples hurrying past with umbrellas, their laughter muffled by the storm. One woman glanced back at me, pity in her eyes, but she kept walking. Good. I didn't want her pity. Didn't want anyone's anything. My heels clicked against wet pavement as I started walking. Nowhere to go, just away from his building, his lies, the life I'd built on foundations made of sand and empty promises. The financial district stretched around me, all glass and steel and cold indifference. At this hour, past midnight, the streets emptied fast. Rain turned the city into something else, something that belonged to people who didn't follow rules, who didn't care about broken hearts or shattered dreams. I should have called someone. My sister. A friend. Anyone. But my hands stayed buried in my pockets, numb and useless. What would I even say? He chose her. In our bed. While I was working late to pay for the ring, I thought he'd give me. That's when I heard it. The car. Low and smooth, like a predator's purr cutting through the rain. I turned, water streaming down my face, and saw headlights. Bright. Blinding. Coming. Toward me. Black. Expensive. The kind of car that costs more than most people. Make in a year. It slowed beside me. Prowling. The passenger window. Descended without a sound. And then his voice. Deep. Dark. Certain. Cut through the storm. Get in. Not a question. A command. I should have kept walking. Every instinct screamed at me to run. Strange car. Strange man. Dark street. This was how women disappeared. But something in his tone, something that suggested he'd already decided my answer, made me stop, made me turn, made me look. I'm fine. I lied, my voice barely audible over the rain. You're drowning. 2 words. Flat truth. I looked down at myself. My white dress clung transparent to my body, showing everything. Mascara probably streaked black down my cheeks. I was shaking so hard my teeth chattered. Had been for the last 10 minutes without even noticing. Drowning. Yes. In every way that mattered. I don't know you, I said. No. A pause. But you're going to freeze to death out here, or worse. This isn't a neighborhood for lost things after dark. Something in the way he said lost things made my chest tighten, like he could see straight through me, through my soaked dress and broken heart, down to the hollow place where hope used to live. I bent down, peering into the car. The interior was leather and shadows. I could barely make him out. Dark suit, strong hands on the steering wheel, a profile that suggested violence held carefully in check. His face stayed turned away, but I felt his attention on me, felt it like heat, like danger, like the moment before lightning strikes and you know, it's coming for you. Where would you take me? My voice came out smaller than I intended. Somewhere warm. Somewhere safe, I laughed. Bitter and broken. Nothing safe. You're right. Finally he turned. Just enough for me to see the edge of his jaw, the cruel beauty of his mouth. But you have 2 choices. Freeze out here, or take a chance with a stranger. That's a terrible choice. It's the only choice. He was right. And we both knew it. The rain pounded harder. My fingers were going numb. In another 20 minutes, I'd have hypothermia. In another hour, someone would find my body in an alley, or I could get in the car. My hand found the door handle. Cold metal. Real. I pulled it open and slid inside before I could change my mind. The door closed behind me with a heavy, final sound, like a vault ceiling. Like a decision that couldn't be undone. Warmth enveloped me immediately. Heated seats. The subtle scent of expensive cologne and leather and something darker underneath. Power, maybe. Or danger wearing a pleasant mask. I was still shaking, but no longer from cold. He didn't look at me. Just pulled smoothly into traffic, the car moving like liquid shadow through rain-slicked streets. Seatbelt. I obeyed without thinking. The click felt like a contract being sealed, like I'd just signed something without reading the terms. We drove in silence. I watched the city blur past through rain-streaked windows. Familiar streets becoming unfamiliar, then unknown, then completely foreign. Each block took me farther from everything I knew. I should have been terrified. Instead, I felt strangely calm. Numb, maybe. Or already past the point of caring what happened next. "What's your name?" he asked after several minutes. "Does it matter?" "Everything matters." I studied his profile in the dashboard's glow. Sharp features, angular. A scar cutting white through his eyebrow. Another along his jaw. The kind of face that belonged to someone who'd seen things, done things, survived things that would break normal people. "Emma," I whispered. He nodded once. Slow, deliberate. "Emma," the way he said it, tasting each syllable, rolling it around like expensive wine, made something shift inside me. Made my name sound like a secret, like a weapon he'd just acquired. "And you?" I asked. "Dante?" "Of course." A name like a warning, like walking into fire with your eyes open. "Are you going to hurt me, Dante?" The question hung in the warm air between us. He didn't answer immediately. The silence grew teeth. When he finally spoke, his voice was soft. Almost gentle. "Not tonight. Not tonight. Not no, not never, just not tonight." I should have screamed. Should have thrown myself from the moving car, taken my chances with the pavement and the rain and the cold. Instead, I leaned back against the seat and closed my eyes. Where are we going? Home. Whose home? Mine. The word settled between us like smoke. His home, a stranger's home, possibly my grave. But as we drove deeper into the night, leaving behind Marcus and his betrayal, leaving behind the apartment we'd shared and the life I'd lost, I realized something. I didn't care. Whatever came next, whatever this dangerous stranger had planned for me, it couldn't be worse than what I was running from. The car turned onto a private road. Trees crowded close on both sides, their branches scratching at the sky like claws. Through the rain, I glimpsed gates, tall iron gates topped with spikes that opened as we approached. No guard, no intercom. They just opened, like they'd been expecting us. No turning back now. Dante's hands flexed on the wheel. Strong hands, dangerous hands, hands that probably knew 100 ways to hurt someone. "Last chance," he murmured, so quiet I almost didn't hear. "I can still take you back." I looked at him. Really looked. Saw the tension in his shoulders, the way his jaw tightened. He meant it. Despite everything, he'd let me go if I asked. That should have made me feel safer. It didn't. No. Something flickered in his eyes, visible even in the dim light. Approval, maybe, or hunger, or satisfaction at a trap successfully sprung. "Then welcome," he said softly, his voice carrying a weight I couldn't quite name. "To the rest of your life." The mansion rose from the darkness ahead, all stone and shadows and secrets. Gothic architecture that belonged in another century, another country. Gargoyles perched on corners. Windows like dead eyes staring into nothing. Beautiful. Terrifying. Inevitable. And I drove toward it willingly. A moth surrendering to flame, knowing the fire would consume me but unable, unwilling, to turn away. The car stopped beneath a covered entrance. Rain pounded the stone archway above us, but here we were protected. Dry. The engine cut off. Sudden silence pressed down like a physical weight. Neither of us moved. "Second thoughts?" he asked, constantly, his mouth curved, almost a smile. "The first I'd seen, good. That means you're smart." Smart would have been staying in the rain. No, smart is choosing the devil you can see over the one you can't. He stepped out first, moving around to my door with predatory grace. When he opened it, cool air rushed in, carrying the scent of rain and earth and roses and something darker underneath. Gunpowder, maybe, or just the metallic tang of danger. He offered his hand. I stared at it. Strong fingers, calloused palms, the hands of someone who worked with them, who fought with them, who probably killed with them. I won't bite, Emma. Liar. This time he did smile, slow and dangerous and devastating. Not without warning. I took his hand. His grip was firm, warm, steady. He pulled me from the car with surprising gentleness, a contrast that made my breath catch in my throat, a contrast that felt calculated, designed to confuse, to disarm. Up close he was taller than I'd realized, broader, the kind of presence that filled spaces without trying. In the entrance light, I finally saw him clearly. Dark eyes, nearly black, a face carved from sharp angles and harder choices. That scar through his eyebrow wasn't his only one. Another traced his jawline, disappearing beneath his collar. More on his hands, a history of violence written on his skin. He was beautiful the way knives are beautiful, deadly and precise and utterly mesmerizing. "Come inside," he said, his voice dropping lower. "You're still shaking." I hadn't noticed. But he was right. I trembled despite the coat he'd draped over my shoulders from the back seat somewhere between the city and here. Shock, probably. Delayed reaction to everything that had shattered. Today. Or maybe just survival instinct. Finally waking up and screaming at me to run. Too late. Now the entrance hall stole what little breath I had left. Marble floors that reflected like dark water. Vaulted ceilings that disappeared into shadow. A chandelier that belonged in a palace. Dripping crystal and cold light. Everything spoke of old money and older power. The kind you don't earn. You inherit it. Or you take it from the corpses of people who tried to stop you. This way. He led me through corridors lined with art I couldn't name. Paintings that probably cost more than my childhood home. My wet shoes squeaked against the floor. I was leaving puddles, ruining his perfect house. "Don't worry about it," he said, though I hadn't spoken. "How did you? You're worried about the floors. I can see it in your face." He glanced back, his dark eyes catching mine. "I have people for that. People. Like they weren't quite human. Just extensions of his will. Tools to be used and discarded." We climbed a staircase wide enough for 6 people to walk side by side. At the top, he opened a door and stepped aside. Bathrooms through there, clean clothes in the closet. Take your time. I hesitated in the doorway. The room beyond was massive. A bedroom suite that could have swallowed my entire apartment 3 times over. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked gardens lost in rain and darkness. A bed that could sleep 4. Furniture that looked antique and priceless. A cage, I realized. A beautiful, luxurious cage. "Why are you doing this?" I asked. He leaned against the door frame, studying me with those dark, unreadable eyes. "Because you needed help. People don't help strangers. Not like this." "I'm not people. What are you then?" His eyes darkened, if that was even possible. "Someone who recognizes broken things." The words hit like a physical blow. Precise, targeted, because he was right. I was broken, shattered into so many pieces I didn't know where one ended and another began, and somehow this dangerous stranger had seen it. Had known it the moment I looked into his car. "Get warm, Emma," he said quietly. "We'll talk after." He moved to leave, but I caught his wrist without thinking. His skin was warm beneath my cold fingers. He went very, very still, like a predator deciding whether to strike. "What do you want from me?" I whispered. He looked down at my hand on his arm. When his gaze lifted to mine, something burned there. Something that made my pulse stutter and my breath catch and every survival instinct I possess start screaming. "I haven't decided yet." He pulled free, gently, carefully, and left. The door closed behind him with a soft click that somehow sounded like a lock engaging. I stood alone in the beautiful room, dripping water onto expensive carpet, and wondered what I'd just agreed to. Wondered if I'd ever leave this place alive. Wondered, most terrifying of all, if I even wanted to. The shower was too hot. I didn't adjust it. I needed the heat. Needed to feel something other than numb. The water pounded against my shoulders like fists, turning my skin pink, washing away Marcus's cologne and his lies and the last traces of who I'd been 3 hours ago. That girl was dead now. I'd killed her when I got in that car. When I finally stepped out, steam clouded every mirror. I couldn't see my reflection. Maybe that was better. Maybe I didn't want to see what I'd become. The closet held women's clothes. I froze in the doorway, towel clutched around me, designer labels I recognized but could never afford. Dresses, jeans, cashmere sweaters, silk blouses, shoes arranged like art pieces, all in my size, or close enough. Had he known? Had he planned this? Or were these from someone else? Someone who'd stood in this room before me, wearing his clothes, sleeping in his bed, making the same terrible choices I was making right now. Was she still alive? I chose simple, black leggings, an oversized cream sweater that fell past my hips. Warm, soft, anonymous. Clothes that wouldn't make me feel like I was playing dress-up in a dead woman's wardrobe. When I emerged, he was waiting, not in the room, but I could sense him, feel his presence like a change in air pressure before a storm hits. I found him in the sitting room off the bedroom, a space I hadn't noticed before. He'd changed too. Dark slacks, white shirt with the sleeves rolled to his elbows, revealing forearms corded with muscle and marked with more scars. A glass of amber liquid in one hand. He looked up when I entered. His gaze traveled over me, slow, assessing, and something in his expression shifted. Better? He asked. Warmer. Not the same thing. No. He gestured to a chair near the fireplace, gas flames flickering behind glass like trapped souls. Warmth without danger, controlled fire. Like him, I sat. He handed me a glass. Whiskey, neat. The crystal was heavy in my palm, catching the firelight. I don't usually drink, I said. Today you do. I sipped. It burned beautifully going down, spreading heat through my chest and into my limbs. I took another sip. Then another. Dante settled into the chair across from me. The firelight played across his features, softening nothing. If anything, it made him look more dangerous. More like something that belonged to darkness and shadow. Tell me about him, he said. Who? Whoever broke you. My fingers tightened on the glass. What makes you think... Emma. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees, his dark eyes locked on mine. Women don't stand in the rain welcoming hypothermia because they're having a good day. Someone hurt you, badly. Who was he? I wanted to lie. To deflect. To tell him it was none of his business. But sitting here in his home, wearing his clothes, drinking his whiskey, what was the point? His name was Marcus, I said quietly. We were together 3 years. Tonight I found out he was cheating. With my best friend, in our bed, in the apartment we shared. The apartment I paid for while he found himself and worked on his novel that will never be finished. Dante's expression didn't change. But something flickered in his eyes. Something cold and calculating and utterly merciless. Where is he now? His apartment. Probably still with her. Probably laughing about how pathetic I am. Address? I laughed, bitter and broken. Why? Going to defend my honor? Something like that. The casualness of his tone made my breath catch. He wasn't joking. If I gave him that address, something would happen. Something violent. Something final. No, I said quickly. He's not worth it. He's not worth anything. That's not for you to decide. It's my pain. I'll decide what to do with it. We stared at each other. A test of wills. A battle neither of us wanted to lose. Finally, his mouth quirked. Almost a smile. You're stronger than you look. You're more dangerous than you look. No, Emma. I'm exactly as dangerous as I look. Don't mistake hospitality for weakness. Don't mistake one night of kindness for safety. The warning was clear. Crystal clear. I was safe here. For now. Tonight. But only because he'd chosen to make it so. Only because it served whatever purpose he had in mind. Who are you? I asked. Really? He swirled his whiskey, considering. The silence stretched. When he finally spoke, his voice was soft. Almost gentle. You've heard of the Moretti family? My blood went cold. Everyone in the city had heard of the Morettis. They weren't just crime. They were infrastructure, politics, Money that moved in shadows and decided elections and owned police and judges and senators. They were the darkness beneath the city's bright surface. They were death in expensive suits. "You're Dante Moretti." "Yes." The glass almost slipped from my fingers. "A mafia boss." I was sitting across from a mafia boss. In his home. Wearing his clothes. Drinking his whiskey. I should have run. Should have thrown myself through that window and taken my chances with the fall. But my body wouldn't move. "So when you picked me up," I whispered. "That wasn't kindness. No." He stood, moving to the window. Rain still hammered the glass like it wanted in. Like it was jealous I'd escaped. It was opportunity. For what? He turned. The firelight behind him turned him into a silhouette. Faceless. Inevitable. Exactly what he was. A shadow given form. "You were drowning, Emma. In every sense that matters. I gave you air. Now you owe me." There it was. The hook beneath the bait. The price for salvation. "And if I refuse to pay, then I'll take you back to that street corner. Drop you exactly where I found you. And you can go back to your cheating boyfriend and your ruined life and your empty apartment. You can go back to drowning." My throat tightened, because he was right. What waited for me out there? An empty apartment that smelled like betrayal. A bed I could never sleep in again. A job I hated. Friends who'd probably known about Marcus all along. A life that had been hollow even before it shattered. "What do you want from me?" I asked again, hating how small my voice sounded. He moved closer. Stopped just at the edge of my space. Close enough that I had to tilt my head back to meet his eyes. Close enough that I could feel his body heat. Smell his cologne. See the gold flecks hidden in all that darkness. "I want you to stay," he said softly. "Here with me. As what? A prisoner?" "As mine." The word hung between us, loaded with implications I couldn't begin to unpack. Ownership, possession, things I should find horrifying, but somehow, terrifyingly, didn't. I don't even know. You will. His certainty was absolute, unshakable. Like he could see the future and had already decided how this would end. "And if I say no?" He crouched beside my chair, level with me now, so close I could count his eyelashes, see the faint stubble along his jaw, watch his pulse beat steady in his throat. "Then say no, Emma." His voice was barely above a whisper. "The door's right there. I won't stop you. I won't follow you. You can walk out of here and never see me again." I looked at the door, then back at him. Why me? The question came out broken. Why not just leave me in the rain? You must have seen dozens of broken people. Hundreds. Why stop for me? Something shifted in his expression. For just a moment, just a heartbeat, the dangerous edge softened. Became something almost human, almost vulnerable. "Because," he said quietly, "I know what it feels like to drown, and I'm tired of watching people go under." His hand came up slowly, giving me time to pull away, to flinch, to refuse. I didn't. His fingers brushed my cheek. Gentle, impossibly gentle for hands that had surely done terrible things. "Killed people, broken bones, pulled triggers, stay," he murmured. "Just tonight. And tomorrow we'll figure out the rest." I knew it was a lie. Tomorrow would come with conditions. With prices I couldn't begin to calculate. With strings attached to every kindness, every warm meal, every moment of safety. But tonight, in this moment, with his hand warm against my skin, and the rain a lullaby outside and the fire burning steady. "Okay," I breathed. "Tonight." His smile was small, satisfied, devastating. Good girl. And I knew, with absolute bone-deep certainty, that I'd just made either the best or worst decision of my life. Maybe both. I woke to silence. No rain. No city sounds. Just quiet so complete it felt like being underwater, like being dead. For one beautiful moment I forgot where I was. Forgot everything. Then reality crashed back like cold water. The mansion. Dante. The choice I'd made. I sat up too fast, my heart pounding. Daylight streamed through gauzy curtains, turning everything gold and soft and deceptively safe. The room looked different now, less intimidating but no less expensive. Every piece of furniture probably cost more than I'd make in a year. A note sat on the nightstand, written in sharp, confident handwriting that somehow looked violent. Clothes in the closet. Breakfast downstairs when you're ready. Take your time. No good morning, no pleasantries. Just instructions. I should have been angry. Instead, I felt oddly cared for. I showered again, taking my time under water pressure that felt like expensive massage. When I opened the closet, I found new additions. Jeans that would actually fit, soft t-shirts, a leather jacket that probably cost more than my car. He'd had someone shop for me while I slept, while I was vulnerable and unconscious in his house. The thought should have terrified me, it didn't. Dressed in jeans and a black cashmere sweater, then stood at the window for a long time just looking. The garden stretched below like something from a fairy tale. Manicured lawns, stone pathways winding through roses and lavender, trees that looked centuries old, everything beautiful, everything perfect, everything controlled. Beyond the gardens, walls. High stone walls topped with iron spikes that tried to look decorative but weren't. This was a fortress. Beautiful, impenetrable, safe, depending on which side of those walls you needed protection from. The house was a maze. I took 3 wrong turns before finding what I thought might be the kitchen. Voices stopped me outside the door, low, tense, speaking rapid Italian. Non possiamo fidarci di lei. I didn't speak Italian, but I recognized arguing when I heard it. Enough. Dante's voice cut through like breaking glass. In English now, cold final. She stays. That's not up for discussion. Boss, she's a liability. A civilian. What if... Then she's my liability. Are we clear? Silence. Heavy and dangerous. Yes, boss. I stepped back, but too late. The door opened. A man emerged. Early 30s. Dark hair slicked back. Expensive suit that couldn't quite hide the shoulder holster underneath. He saw me and his expression went carefully blank. Professional. Miss. He moved past me without waiting for response. 2 more men followed, neither meeting my eyes, both carrying the same weight, the same capacity for violence wrapped in expensive clothes and fake politeness. Then Dante appeared in the doorway. He'd showered too. His hair was still slightly damp, curling just slightly at the edges. His shirt was impeccably pressed. He looked like what he was. Powerful, dangerous, completely in control of his world. And I was standing in his world now. Eavesdropping? He asked mildly. Lost? Convenient. Is there a difference in this house? His mouth curved. Genuinely amused. Touché. Come, eat. The kitchen was all stainless steel and white marble in cold perfection. A spread waited on the island that could have fed 10 people. Pastries that looked handmade. Fresh fruit arranged like art. Coffee in a French press that probably cost more than my monthly rent. I didn't know what you liked, he said, pouring coffee into delicate cups that looked like they'd shatter if you breathed on them wrong. So I had them bring options. Them being your staff? Yes. The men who don't trust me? They don't have to trust you. They have to obey me. Different thing. I accepted the coffee. It was perfect, strong, smooth, exactly the right temperature. Of course it was. They think I'm a liability, I said. You are. The honesty was brutal, refreshing. Then why keep me? He leaned against the counter, studying me over his cup. Are you planning to betray me, Emma? I don't even know you well enough to betray you. Good answer. He set down his coffee with deliberate care. But they're right to be cautious. You're an unknown variable in a world where unknowns get people killed, where one mistake can end empires, where trust is currency, and you haven't earned any yet. So why keep me? I asked again. The question hung between us. Outside, a bird sang, unnaturally loud in the quiet, like even nature knew to be careful here. Because I want to, he said simply. That's not an answer. It's the only answer you're getting today. He moved closer, not threatening, just present, occupying space in a way that made the huge kitchen feel intimate. Dangerous. You have questions, he continued. Ask them. I had 1,000 questions, but only one mattered. What happens now? That depends on you. How? You can leave. He said it flatly, matter of fact. I'll have someone drive you wherever you want to go. Your apartment, a friend's house, a hotel across the country. I'll make sure you're safe, that Marcus doesn't bother you, that you have enough money to start over somewhere else, and we'll never see each other again. My chest tightened. Or you stay. For a while. Figure out what comes next. You need time to heal. Time to remember who you are beneath all the breaking. I can give you that. Why would you? He studied me for a long moment. Then, unexpectedly, devastatingly, he reached out and tucked a strand of damp hair behind my ear. The gesture was so casual, so intimate, it stole my breath, made my pulse stutter, made me forget, for just a second, how dangerous he was. Because last night, in the rain, I saw someone I recognized. He said quietly. Someone lost, someone broken, someone who'd given up on everything, including themselves. And I can't stand seeing broken things left in the rain. His words from last night. But now they felt different. More honest, raw in a way that made my throat tight. What if I can't be fixed? I whispered. What if you don't need to be fixed? His thumb brushed my cheekbone, just once, featherlight. What if you just need time to remember who you are beneath all the damage? Something in my chest cracked. I hadn't cried last night. Not in the car. Not in the shower. Not in the enormous bed that smelled like expensive detergent and loneliness. But now, standing in this stranger's kitchen while he looked at me like I mattered, like I was more than just broken pieces waiting to be swept up, tears came. I hated it. Hated breaking down in front of him. Hated showing weakness to someone who probably saw it as opportunity, as leverage, but I couldn't stop. Dante moved without hesitation. His arms came around me, strong and steady and warm. He smelled like expensive soap and something underneath it. Something human. Something real. He didn't speak. Didn't shush me or tell me it was okay or feed me pretty lies. He just held me while I fell apart. When I finally pulled back, embarrassed and raw and probably looking like absolute hell, he kept one hand on my shoulder. Grounding me. Anchoring me. Better? Mortified. Don't be. Tears are honest. I respect honest. He handed me a cloth napkin. Even his kitchen napkins were nicer than anything I owned. Stay, Dante, 1 week. No strings. No obligations, just stay. Figure out what you want. Who you are. What comes next. And then decide nothing is free. You said that yourself. No, but some prices are worth paying later. I looked up at him, tried to see past the beautiful face, the dangerous reputation, the careful control, tried to see what he really wanted from me. I couldn't. Maybe that was the point. 1 week, I heard myself say. 1 week, then I decide, then you decide. He held out his hand, not to shake, just offering, letting me choose. I took it. His fingers closed around mine. Warm. Certain. Strong enough to crush, but gentle enough to make me feel safe. Okay then, he said, and his smile was small and dangerous and devastating. Let me show you your prison. He was joking. Sort of. The house was endless. A library with floor-to-ceiling shelves holding books in languages I couldn't name. A gym that looked like it belonged in a professional facility. An indoor pool with water so blue it looked artificial. A room that was just paintings. Originals, he said casually, like owning Picasso's was normal. Another room that was just windows, overlooking gardens that seemed to go on forever. Do you read all of these? I asked, running my fingers along leather spines in the library. Most. Not as much as I'd like anymore. Too busy running an empire? Something like that. He showed me the gardens. Roses just beginning to bloom, lavender that filled the air with its scent. A small orchard of fruit trees budding with promise. Everything carefully tended, everything beautiful and controlled, like him. You can go anywhere on the grounds, he said as we walked. The walls are for keeping others out, not keeping you in. But I can't leave. You can. You shouldn't. Different thing. Why not? He stopped walking, turned to face me. The sunlight caught his eyes, turning them almost golden, making him look less like a monster and more like a fallen angel, which was somehow worse. Because the moment you stepped into my car, you became mine to protect, he said quietly. And the people who want to hurt me won't hesitate to hurt you to do it. They'll see you as leverage, as weakness, as a way to get to me. I didn't ask for your protection. No, you asked for a ride. But this is the world you're in now, Emma. at least for the next week. And in this world, my protection is the only thing keeping you alive. The words should have terrified me. Instead, they felt strangely clarifying. I was in danger, real danger, because of him, because I'd made a choice in the rain. And somehow, that made more sense than anything in my life had made for years. "Okay," I said. "I'll stay on the grounds." "Thank you." We walked in silence for a while. The sun felt good on my face. Real, warm. The first real thing I'd felt in days. "Can I ask you something?" I ventured. "Always." "Why did you really pick me up last night?" He didn't answer immediately. When he did, his voice was quieter, softer, almost vulnerable. 5 years ago, I lost someone important. He paused, his jaw tightening. I didn't know she was suffering until it was too late. She was proud, stubborn, wouldn't ask for help, wouldn't show weakness. And one night, she walked into the river. My breath caught. I wasn't there, he continued, staring at something I couldn't see. Something in the past, something that still haunted him. I was building this empire. Making money, making enemies, playing God, and I wasn't there when she needed me most. "Dante, last night I saw you in the rain, saw the look on your face. That same look, like the world had ended and you were just waiting for your body to realize it. The same look she must have had." His hands clenched at his sides, and I thought, maybe this time I could be there. Maybe this time I could stop it. I reached for his hand without thinking. He let me take it. His fingers were warm, strong, slightly rough. "I wasn't going to walk into the river," I said softly. "Weren't you?" I wanted to say no, wanted to insist I was stronger than that, but I didn't know if that was true. Didn't know what I would have done if he hadn't stopped, if the cold had gone deep enough, if the pain had lasted long enough. "Thank you," I whispered, "for stopping." He looked down at our joined hands. Then back at my face. Something in his expression shifted, became less guarded, more raw. "Stay safe, Emma. That's all I ask." It wasn't all he asked. We both knew that. But for now, in the sunlight, with his hand warm in mine and Rose's perfuming the air around us, I let myself believe the lie. 3 days passed like a dream, or maybe like being in a coma, safe, warm, protected from reality. I read in the library, first editions of books I'd only seen in cheap paperbacks. I walked the gardens until I knew every path, every flower, every secret corner. I ate meals that appeared like magic, cooked by people I never saw. Dante was around but never hovering. Working in his study, taking calls in rapid Italian, disappearing for hours at a time in suits that got progressively darker as the day went on, like he was transforming, becoming something else when he left these walls. But every evening, we had dinner together. Not in the formal dining room with its massive table and cold chandelier. In a smaller space off the kitchen, intimate and warm, with candles and soft music and wine that probably cost more than my car. We talked. Carefully at first, like two people dancing around landmines, then with increasing honesty. He told me about his father, who'd built the Moretti Empire with blood and brutality and bodies buried in concrete, about inheriting a kingdom at 22 when his father was murdered, about learning to be ruthless because mercy got you killed. I told him about my mother, who'd died of cancer when I was 12, about building a life that felt safe even if it wasn't real, about choosing Marcus because he was predictable, controllable, safe. Everything my childhood hadn't been. We didn't touch, didn't cross lines. But the tension between us grew teeth. Every glance lasted too long. Every accidental brush of hands felt electric. Every smile he gave me felt like a secret, like a promise, like a warning. On the 4th morning, everything changed. I woke early, restless. Dawn light painted the room gold and rose. I dressed quickly and wandered downstairs, thinking everyone would still be asleep. Voices stopped me outside Dante's study. "Can't keep her here forever." "She's going to find out. She doesn't need to know." Dante's voice, hard as steel. "Boss, she's not stupid. How long before she asks questions? Before she puts it together? Let me worry about that. And when she finds out what you did, When she realizes you're the reason her boyfriend... Enough. The word cracked like a gunshot. I stopped breathing. What he did to my boyfriend. Get out, Dante said quietly, dangerously. Now. Footsteps approached the door. I stumbled back, but not fast enough. The same man from the first morning emerged, the one who'd argued about me being a liability. He saw me. His expression flickered, surprise, then something like pity, then carefully blank professionalism. Miss, he said, then walked away quickly. Almost running. I stared at the open study door. Dante stood by the window, back to me. Shoulders tense, every line of his body radiating barely controlled violence. He knew I was there. Emma, what did you do? My voice came out steadier than I felt, stronger than I was. He turned slowly. His face was careful, controlled, the mask back in place. Come inside. Close the door. I did, though my hands shook. What did you do to Marcus? He's alive. His voice was flat, empty. If that's what you're asking. Relief and horror warred in my chest. But you did something. Silence. Heavy. Dangerous. Dante. I moved closer, my heart pounding. What did you do? He studied me for a long moment. Then, with deliberate calm, walked to a bar cart and poured whiskey. Downed it. Poured another. It was barely 7 a.m. I had a conversation with him, he said finally. What kind of conversation? The kind where he understood that touching you again would be unwise. My stomach turned. You threatened him? Yes. Because I told you about him. Yes. I asked you not to. My voice rose. I specifically asked you not to. You did. So you just ignored that? Decided you knew better? Decided my choices didn't matter? His eyes flashed. Dark fire. He hurt you. Did you think I'd just let that stand? It wasn't your choice to make. You became my responsibility the moment you got in my car. I'm not your responsibility. I'm not your property. I'm not your anything! The words hung between us like thrown knives. His jaw tightened. Something dangerous flickered in his eyes. No. He moved closer. Predatory. You're wearing my clothes. Eating my food. Sleeping under my roof. Living in my world. You are exactly my responsibility, Emma. That's not the same as ownership. In my world, it is. I stepped back. Hit the desk. Then maybe I need to leave your world. Something flickered in his expression. Quickly controlled. But I saw it. Hurt maybe. Or anger. Or both. Maybe you do. The words shouldn't have hurt. But they did. They cut deep. I turned toward the door, my vision blurring. Wait. His hand caught my wrist. Not hard, but firm. Stopping me. There's more. Dread pooled in my stomach like ice water. What more could there possibly be? He released me. Ran a hand through his hair. The first time I'd seen him anything less than perfectly controlled. The first time he'd looked almost human. The night I found you, he said quietly. That wasn't coincidence. The floor tilted. What? I was already following you. What? For 3 days. Since Marcus first contacted your friend, I had people watching him, and they saw you. Saw what he was doing. Saw you not knowing. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Why? Why were you following me? He met my eyes, unflinching, unapologetic, because Marcus borrowed money from me. A lot of money. Money he couldn't pay back. The pieces fell into place with sickening clarity. So you were watching him to collect your debt? Yes. And you saw me. Saw an opportunity. Emma, you used me. The words came out broken. Shattered. That whole story about your sister. About seeing someone drowning. That was all manipulation. All lies. You picked me up because I was leverage against Marcus. No, that's not... Don't. I backed away, my voice rising. Don't lie to me, not now. You picked me up to use me. To control him. To get your money back. I picked you up because you were standing in the rain looking like you wanted to die. His voice rose for the first time. Actually rose. Lost control. Yes, I knew who you were. Yes, I was watching Marcus. But the moment I saw your face, saw what he'd done to you, saw you giving up, none of that mattered anymore. Liar. I'm many things, Emma, but I'm not lying about this. Then what am I? My voice cracked. Really? A hostage? A pawn? Collateral? He moved toward me. I moved back. Hit the wall. You're someone I saved, he said quietly, stopping just out of reach. Someone I wanted to save. Everything after that is real. These last few days, those were real. Were they? Or were you just keeping me compliant while you figured out how to use me? If I wanted to use you, I'd have told Marcus I had you, threatened him with you, extorted him. I didn't. I kept you separate, protected, hidden, because you matter more than the debt. I don't believe you. Then believe this. He closed the distance between us in 2 steps. His hands came up to frame my face, gentle despite everything. I could have left you in that rain, could have watched you drown and driven away and never thought about you again. But I didn't. I stopped. I brought you here. I kept you safe. And every single day since, I've chosen you over the money, over the debt, over everything Marcus owes me. Then let me go. Tears streamed down my face. If I matter so much, let me go. His thumbs brushed my cheeks, wiping away tears. I will, if that's what you want. But don't lie to yourself about what you're going back to. At least out there I'm not a prisoner. No, out there you're just alone. The truth of it hit like a fist because he was right. What did I have out there? An empty apartment. A job I hated. Friends who'd known about Marcus and said nothing. A life I'd built on foundations of lies and fear and desperate need to feel safe. I hate you, I whispered. I know. His forehead pressed against mine. But you don't want to leave. I should. Yes, you should. His breath was warm against my lips. But you won't. You're a monster. Yes. You manipulated me. Yes. You've been lying to me since the moment we met. About some things. Not about the important things. And what are the important things? His eyes met mine, dark and deep and drowning. That I see you, Emma. Really see you. Not the mask you show the world. Not the girl who tried to be small enough to fit in Marcus's life. I see who you really are underneath. And that person, that strong, broken, beautiful person, is worth saving. You don't know me. I know you better than you know yourself. His thumb traced my lower lip. You're not weak. You're not broken beyond repair. You're not the victim Marcus made you believe you were. You're fierce and smart and brave enough to get in a stranger's car because you knew, somewhere deep down you knew, that the devil you didn't know was better than the life you were drowning in. Stop. You want danger, Emma. You want to feel alive. You want someone who sees your darkness and doesn't flinch. His voice dropped to a whisper. And that terrifies you. You're wrong. Am I? He was so close. So close I could feel his heartbeat against my chest. Could smell his cologne. Could see every fleck of gold in his dark eyes. What do you want from me? I breathed. Everything. The word hung between us. Heavy. Inevitable. And if I can't give you that, then I'll take what you can give and wait for the rest. His certainty should have terrified me. It didn't. This is insane, I whispered. Yes, we barely know each other. We know the important things. I can't trust you. No, but you can try. Hands were still framing my face. Gentle, warm, steady. I should have pushed him away. Should have run. Should have gotten as far from this dangerous man as possible. Instead, I leaned into his touch. One more week. I heard myself say. His smile was slow, dangerous, victorious. One more week. But no more lies. No more lies. And if I want to leave after that, then you leave. I won't stop you. I didn't believe him, but I nodded anyway. His thumb brushed across my cheekbone one more time. Then he stepped back, giving me space I didn't want. Get dressed, he said, his voice returning to normal. Controlled. I want to show you something. What? His smile turned wicked. My world, the real one, not this safe little bubble. If you're going to stay, you need to know what you're choosing. Fear and excitement warred in my chest. Okay, I whispered. Good girl. And despite everything, despite the lies and manipulation and danger, those two. Words made my pulse race. made me want to be good. For him, the car ride was silent, different. Car this time, still black, still expensive, but somehow more aggressive. Lower to the ground, faster. The kind of car that said, "Don't fuck with me" in every line. I sat in the passenger seat wearing clothes Dante had chosen. Dark jeans, a black silk blouse, a leather jacket that probably cost more than my rent. I looked different. Felt different. Dangerous, maybe. Or just dressed for the part. "Where are we going?" I asked. "The city. I have a meeting. And you're bringing me because you wanted the truth. This is the truth." We drove in silence after that. The city rose around us, familiar and foreign at the same time. I'd lived here for 6 years, but I'd never seen it like this. Through his eyes, through the eyes of someone who owned pieces of it, who controlled it, who bled it dry. We pulled up outside a building I recognized. Upscale, expensive, a restaurant on the ground floor, offices above. "Stay close," Dante said as we got out. "Don't speak unless I tell you to. And whatever you see, whatever you hear, remember that you asked for this." My stomach twisted. "Dante?" "Too late to change your mind now." He was right. I'd made my choice. 2 men appeared from nowhere. Bodyguards, I realized. They flanked us as we walked inside, past the restaurant, past the elevators, to a door marked private, downstairs. We went downstairs. The basement was cold. Concrete floors, exposed pipes, the smell of mold and something else, something metallic. Blood. I knew it was blood before I saw it. A man sat tied to a chair in the center of the room. His face was swollen, bloody, one eye completely shut. He was crying, begging, "Please, please, I'll get you the money. I just need more time. You had time." Dante's voice was flat, empty, nothing like the way he spoke to me. 3 months. That was the agreement. I know, but my wife... She's sick, the medical bills, not my problem." Dante moved closer. I stood frozen by the door, wanting to run, unable to move. "You borrowed money from me," Dante continued, his voice soft, conversational. "You agreed to terms. You broke those terms. Now there are consequences. Please, I have kids. You should have thought about them before you gambled away money that wasn't yours." Dante pulled out a gun. My heart stopped. "No," I heard myself say. "No, don't." Dante's hand went up, stopping me, not looking at me, eyes fixed on the man in the chair. "Emma, be quiet." "Dante, please." "Quiet." The word cracked like a whip. I shut up. Dante pressed the gun to the man's temple. The man was sobbing now, begging, promising anything and everything. "Last chance," Dante said softly. "Where's my money?" "I don't have it. I swear to God I don't have it." Wrong answer. The gunshot was deafening. The man's head snapped back. Blood sprayed. He slumped in the chair. Dead. Just like that. Dead. I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Couldn't process what I'd just seen. Dante lowered the gun, turned, looked at me. His face was empty. Cold. This was who he really was. Not the man who held me while I cried. Not the man who tucked hair behind my ear. Not the man who talked about books and dead sisters and wanting to save me. This was the monster. "Clean this up," he said to someone behind me. Then to me, "Let's go." I didn't move, couldn't move. He walked to me, took my arm, gentle but firm. "Emma, we're leaving. You killed him." My voice sounded strange, distant. You killed him." "Yes. He had kids. He should have paid his debt. You can't just..." "Yes, I can. This is my world, Emma. This is what I do. This is who I am." He pulled me toward the stairs. I stumbled. My legs didn't want to work. We got back to the car. I slid into the passenger seat like a puppet. Numb, disconnected. Dante got in. Started the engine, we drove. I stared out the window, seeing nothing. "You wanted the truth," he said finally. "Now you have it. You murdered him. I executed him." "Different thing." "How is that different?" "Murder implies passion, emotion. What I did was business." He borrowed money he couldn't repay. He knew the terms. He knew the consequences. He had a family. So do the people he owed money to. So do the people who depend on me to maintain order. You think this world runs on kindness? His voice was hard, cold. It runs on fear, on consequences, on people knowing that debts get paid one way or another. I turned to look at him. Is that what I am? A debt? No. Then what? He didn't answer. We drove back to the mansion in silence. When we pulled up, I got out before he could open my door, walked inside, up the stairs, to my room, locked the door, slid down against it, and finally let myself fall apart. I didn't see Dante for 2 days. Food appeared outside my door. Fresh clothes. Books I might like, but no Dante. Spent the time thinking, processing, trying to reconcile the man who'd held me while I cried with the man who'd put a bullet in someone's head without hesitation. They were the same person. That was the terrifying part. They were both real. On the 3rd day, there was a knock. Emma. His voice, muffled through the door. We need to talk. Go away, please. I'd never heard him say please before. I opened the door. He looked tired, worn. His hair was messy. His shirt wrinkled. He'd been drinking. I could smell it. Can I come in? I stepped back. He entered, closed the door softly behind him. We stood there, not touching, barely breathing. I'm sorry, he said finally. For killing that man? No, for showing you. I should have prepared you better, warned you what you'd see. Would it have mattered? Probably not. Silence. I can't do this, I whispered. I can't be with someone who does that. I know. Then let me go. I will. He moved closer. But first, let me explain something. There's nothing to explain. You're a killer. Yes, I am. I've killed 7 people, Emma. 7 people who broke deals, who threatened my family, who tried to destroy everything my father built. And I'd do it again, every single time. That's supposed to make me feel better? No, it's supposed to make you understand. He took my hands. I let him. I'm not a good man. I've never pretended to be. But everything I do, every terrible thing, every violent choice, it's to maintain order, to keep my people safe, to make sure families like yours don't get caught in crossfire. You're justifying murder. I'm explaining context. There is no context that makes it okay. You're right. He pulled me closer. There isn't, but that's the world I live in, the world I was born into, and I can't change it. I can only survive it. I looked up at him, saw the exhaustion in his eyes, the weight he carried. What do you want from me, Dante? I want you to stay. Knowing what I am, knowing what I do, I want you to choose me anyway. That's insane. Yes. I'd be complicit. In everything? Yes, I can't. You can. You're stronger than you think. His forehead pressed against mine. His hands cradled my face. I'm not asking you to love what I do, he whispered. I'm asking you to love me despite it. To see the man behind the monster. To give me one reason to be better. I can't save you. I don't need saving. I need someone who sees me and doesn't look away. I want to look away. But you haven't. Not really. You're still here. He was right. I was still here. Despite everything. 1 month. I heard myself say, I'll stay 1 month. And then I decide, 1 month, but no more killings. Not while I'm here. Not where I can see. I can't promise that. Then I leave right now. He studied me. Calculating. Weighing options. Fine. No more killings in front of you. At all. Emma. At all. Dante, 1 month. Find another way to handle your business. Or let me go right now. The silence stretched. Finally. 1 month. No killings. Promise me. I promise. I didn't trust the promise. But I accepted it anyway. His lips brushed my forehead. Soft. Gentle. Nothing like the man who'd pulled that trigger. Thank you, he whispered. For what? For staying. I didn't tell him I had nowhere else to go. Didn't tell him I was already falling for the monster. Didn't tell him that some part of me, some dark, broken part, understood why he did what he did. I just let him hold me and pretended we could both be saved. 3 weeks Passed 3 weeks of carefully. Maintained peace. Dante kept his promise, no more violence in front of me. No more basement meetings. No more reminders of what he really was. We fell into a routine. Mornings in the garden. Afternoons in the library. Evenings together. Talking, laughing, slowly peeling back layers. He told me about his childhood. About watching his father rule with an iron fist. About learning that love was weakness and mercy got you killed. I told him about the years after my mother died. About my father checking out emotionally. About raising myself. About building walls so high no one could ever hurt me again. Until Marcus. Until him. We still hadn't crossed the final line. Hadn't kissed. Hadn't touched beyond casual brushes of hands, his arm around my shoulders. My head on his chest while we watched the sunset. The tension was unbearable. Delicious. Terrifying. I was falling in love with a monster. And he was letting me. On the 21st day, everything fell apart. I woke to shouting. Gunshots. I bolted upright, heart pounding. Dawn light barely touched the sky. More shouting. In Italian. Angry. Desperate. More gunshots. My door burst open. Dante, wearing only pants. Gun in hand, blood on his chest. Get up. Now. What? Now, Emma? I scrambled out of bed. He threw a robe at me. Put that on. Stay behind me. Do exactly what I say. Dante, what's happening? We're under attack. My blood went cold. He grabbed my hand, pulled me into the hallway. 2 of his men were there, both armed, both looking grim. The car's out front, one said in English. But they've got the gates. How many? At least 20. Maybe more. Volkov's men. Dante's jaw tightened. Fuck, he turned to me. Emma, listen carefully. We're going to get you out of here, but you need to trust me. Can you do that? I nodded, unable to speak. Good girl. We ran, down the stairs, through corridors. The sound of fighting grew louder. Shouts, gunfire, breaking glass. We burst into the entrance hall. 3 men stood there. Not Dante's men. They raised their guns. Dante shoved me behind him. Fired first, 2 went down. The 3rd got a shot off. Hit one of Dante's men in the shoulder. Dante put a bullet in his head. Move. We ran again. Out the front door. Into chaos. The grounds were a war zone. Bodies on the lawn. Cars burning. Men everywhere. Shooting, fighting, dying. The car! Dante yelled. A black SUV sat running near the fountain. We ran for it. Gunfire erupted behind us. Dante turned, firing back. Covering me, get in! I dove into the back seat. Dante jumped in after me. His driver floored it. We crashed through what was left of the gates. Behind us, the mansion burned. Where are we going? I asked when I could finally speak. Safe house. Across the city, what happened? Who were those people? Russians, Volkov's crew. They've been trying to take my territory for months. Tonight they made their move. Are your people? Some are dead. Some got out. I won't know until later. His voice was flat. Empty. I looked at him. Really looked. Blood on his chest, but not his. A cut above his eye. Bruises forming on his ribs. You're hurt. I'm fine. Dante, I said I'm fine. We drove in silence. Dawn broke over the city. Beautiful and terrible. The safe house was in the industrial district. A warehouse that looked abandoned but wasn't. Inside, it was surprisingly nice. Clean, furnished, clearly used often. Dante's phone rang. He answered in Italian. Spoke rapidly, angrily, hung up. How bad? I asked. Bad? 6 men dead, including Marco. He was with me since we were kids. His voice cracked. Just slightly. The mansion's gone, burned to the ground. Everything He stopped. Turned away, I went to him. Put my hand on his back. I'm sorry. This is my fault. I got distracted. Let my guard down. People died because I was too busy playing house with you. The words hit like a slap. You're blaming me? He spun. No, I'm blaming myself. For forgetting what I am. What this world is. For thinking I could have something normal. Something good. Dante, you should go, Emma. I'll give you money. A new identity. You can start over somewhere far from here. Somewhere safe. I'm not leaving. Yes, you are. No. I moved closer. I'm not. Emma, this isn't a game. People want me dead. And now they know about you. You're a target. The only way to keep you safe is to get you as far from me as possible. Or keep me close and protect me. I can't protect you and run my empire. Then don't run your empire. He laughed, bitter, broken. I can't just walk away. Why not? Because hundreds of people depend on me. Families, businesses. If I disappear, the city falls into chaos. More people die, so you sacrifice yourself? And you, yes. I took his face in my hands. Made him look at me. What if I don't want to be sacrificed? What you want doesn't matter. What matters is keeping you alive. What if keeping me alive isn't enough? What if I want to really live? His eyes searched mine. What are you saying? I'm saying I choose you. All of you. The monster and the man. The violence and the gentleness. I choose this world knowing what it costs. You're insane. Yes, but so are you. His hands came up to cover mine. Emma, if you really stay, there's no going back. You'll be marked. You'll be a target for the rest of your life. You'll see things. Do things that will change you forever. I'm already changed. Not like this. Then change me more. Make me yours completely, no more halfway. No more pretending this is temporary. You don't know what you're asking. Yes, I do. We stared at each other. The warehouse around us was silent. Empty. Just us and the choice hanging between us. If you stay, he said quietly, I'll never let you go. Good. I'll own you. I know. You'll have to do terrible things. I know. His thumb brushed my lower lip. I'll ruin you. You already have. Something broke in his expression. The control he'd maintained for weeks. Shattered. His mouth crashed into mine. Finally. The kiss was desperate, hungry, violent in its intensity. His hands tangled in my hair. Mine clawed at his chest. He pushed me against the wall. His body pressed into mine, hard, demanding, uncompromising. I gave him everything. He took it. When we finally broke apart, both breathing hard, he pressed his forehead to mine. You're mine now, he whispered. Say it. I'm yours. Forever. Forever. No matter what happens. No matter what. His smile was dark, possessive, absolutely devastating. Good girl. And I knew with absolute certainty that I'd just made a deal with the devil, and I didn't care, not even a little. 6 months later, the new mansion was smaller than the old one. More modern, but just as fortified. We'd rebuilt, slowly, carefully. Dante had gone to war with Volkov. It lasted 2 months. Bloody. Brutal. I saw things I'll never unsee. Did things I'll never forgive myself for. But we survived. I stood at the window of our bedroom now. Not just mine, watching rain fall on the gardens. Some things never changed. Arms came around me from behind. Dante's chin rested on my shoulder, thinking. He murmured, always, about how different my life is. How different I am. Regrets? I turned in his arms. Looked up at him. He'd changed too. New scars, new shadows in his eyes, but also something softer. Something that only appeared when he looked at me. No regrets. Liar, I smiled. Maybe a few, but not about you. His hands framed my face, the gesture so familiar now. So completely him. I love you, Emma. The first time he'd said it. 6 months together, 6 months of blood and violence and rebuilding. And finally, those 3 words, my throat tightened. I know, that's all I get? His mouth curved, amused. You want more? Always. I traced the scar on his jaw, new from the warehouse fight. From protecting me. I love you too, even though you're a monster. Especially because I'm a monster. Maybe. He kissed me, soft, gentle, so different from that first desperate kiss in the warehouse. We'd learned each other, slowly, completely. I knew where he kept his guns, knew which calls meant someone was going to die, knew the difference between his business voice and his voice when he whispered my name in the dark. He knew my nightmares, knew when I needed space and when I needed him to hold me until the shaking stopped, knew that sometimes I still woke up crying for the girl I used to be, the one who believed in safety and happy endings, What are you thinking about? He asked against my lips. About that night. In the rain. Regrets? I told you. No regrets. Not even knowing what you know now? Not even after everything you've seen? Everything you've done? I thought about it. Really thought about the man in the basement. About the Russians I'd shot. Yes, shot. When they'd stormed the safe house. About the blood on my hands that wouldn't wash off no matter how hard I scrubbed. About becoming someone I didn't recognize. Someone harder. Colder. Capable of terrible things. No, I said finally. Because that girl in the rain was already dying. You didn't save me from Marcus. You saved me from myself. Maybe you saved me too. From what? From forgetting I was human. He pulled me closer. I fit against him perfectly now. Like we'd been designed for each other. I have something for you, he said. Another gun. Better. He reached into his pocket. Pulled out a small box. My heart stopped. Dante, before you panic, he interrupted. It's not what you think. I'm not proposing. Why not? The words came out before I could stop them. His eyes darkened. Because marriage makes you a bigger target. Because putting my name on you legally makes you vulnerable. Because in my world, marriage is a weakness enemies exploit. Oh, but this... He opened the box. Inside was a ring. Simple. Elegant. A black diamond surrounded by smaller white ones. This is a promise. That you're mine. That I'm yours. That nothing, not wars or enemies or the entire fucking world, will change that. He took my hand. Slid the ring onto my finger. It fit perfectly. You're stuck with me now, he murmured. No escape. I don't want to escape. Liar. Sometimes, I admitted. Sometimes I wake up and wonder who I've become. Wonder if the old Emma would even recognize me. And then I remember that the old Emma was miserable. Safe, but miserable. This Emma, your Emma, is terrified and exhilarated and alive in a way I never was before. This Emma is also a criminal. Yes. An accomplice to murder. Yes. Complicit. In everything I do. Yes. He studied my face. Looking for doubt, maybe. For regret, he wouldn't find it. I turned you into a monster, he said quietly. No. You just showed me the monster was always there. Waiting. His kiss was deeper this time. Possessive. Claiming. When we broke apart, his voice was rough. Come to bed. It's barely noon. I don't care. He pulled me toward the bed. Our bed in our room in our fortress. Rain hammered the windows. The city sprawled below us, unaware of the darkness that lived in its heart. Unaware of what we'd become. What we'd always been. As Dante's hands found the zipper of my dress, as his mouth traced fire down my throat, I thought about that girl in the rain. That broken, drowning girl who'd gotten into a stranger's car. She'd be horrified by who I'd become, by the blood on my hands, by the coldness in my heart, by my capacity for violence. But she'd also be amazed, because I was free. Really, truly free. Free from trying to be good, from trying to be small, from trying to fit into a life that was never meant for me. Dante pulled me down onto the bed. His weight pressed me into silk sheets. His dark eyes held mine. No going back, he whispered. No going back, I agreed. You're mine. Forever. And you're mine. Yes. The rain fell harder. The world kept turning. Somewhere out there, people were living normal lives. Safe lives. Good lives. But not us. We'd chosen darkness. And in that darkness, we'd found something precious. Each other. As Dante's mouth claimed mine, as his hands mapped territory they'd claimed 100 times before, I smiled against his lips, because I'd finally found home. Not in a place. Not in safety. But in the arms of a monster who loved me enough to let me become one too. The girl in the rain was gone. Dead and buried. And in her place stood someone stronger. Someone dangerous. Someone who'd walked through fire and come out forged in steel. Someone who belonged to the darkness and loved it. Epilogue 1 year later. I stood on the balcony of our bedroom, watching the sun set over the city. The ring on my finger caught the light, black diamond gleaming. Behind me, I heard Dante and a call. Footsteps approached, His arms came around my waist. His chin found its familiar spot on my shoulder. "Thinking?" he murmured, "about the rain. Still? Always regrets?" I turned in his arms, looked up at the man who'd saved me by destroying me, who'd loved me by making me dangerous. Not even one? Good. His smile was dark. Beautiful. Mine. Because I'm never letting you go. No. You're stuck with a monster. We're both monsters now. Yes, we are. I pulled him down, kissed him, tasted danger and devotion and destiny. When we broke apart, the sun had set completely. Darkness claimed the city. Our city. Our world. Our kingdom built on blood and love and choices that could never be unmade. "Come to bed," Dante whispered. "In a minute. Emma, just let me look." 1 more minute, he allowed it, patient in a way he'd never been with anyone else. I looked out at the city, at the lights flickering on like stars, at the people down there living their small, safe lives. They'd never understand what we had. The darkness we'd embraced, the monsters we'd become, the love that grew in places light couldn't reach. But that was okay. We understood. And that was enough. "Ready?" Dante asked. I turned from the view, faced him. My monster, my salvation, my choice, always. We walked inside together, into the darkness, into each other, into the life we'd built from rain and ruin and redemption. The door closed behind us, and somewhere in the city, rain began to fall. A story of how sometimes salvation comes in the form of danger. How sometimes love means becoming the thing you feared most. How sometimes the only way to find yourself is to lose everything you thought you were. This is not a fairy tale. This is not a redemption arc. This is a love story for the darkness in all of us. For the broken things that refuse to be fixed. For the lost souls that find home in each other's ruins. For the girl in the rain, who chose the monster and never looked back.